Today on Crossing South, we see some daredevils in action, Baja style, and we visit what is becoming a world-renowned cheese seller. All this coming to you right now. Well, folks, we're standing here, top of the world, up in this mountain and overlooking Ensenada, beautiful Ensenada. Now, we didn't just come up here for the view. Actually, we've come here to talk to a young person who's very special in his skills, and what he does will help any other enthusiasts who do what he does look to Ensenada as probably a place where they can do the same thing. I'm talking about Carlos Cautry. How you doing, Carlos? ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien.
This young man is 17 years old, and he is the champion here in Ensenada of the downhill competition for mountain biking. Cuéntame este deporte, Carlos. ¿Cómo entraste primero tú a él?
Pues este deporte empezó pues jugando como un juego, ¿no? Con tus amigos, ir al cerro a divertirte. Y así pues empecé, que carreras escuché y no, pues vamos a competir. Hay carreras, no, pues vamos y sí. Y ya después no, pues ya mi papá me compró, pues le pedí que me quería meterme a correr esto y pues me apoyó. Y aquí está.
Y esas bicicletas son muy caras, ¿verdad? ¿Cuánto cuestan esas bicicletas?
Pues alrededor de unos $3,000.
¿A poco? Bicicletas de $3,000. Hay que cuidarlas.
Sí.
¿Están hechas para aguantar la
pues.
carrera? Ah, ok. ¿Ensenada tiene buenos lugares para este tipo de deporte?
Sí, hay demasiado, pues si lo ves, casi es puro cerro.
Puro cerro, ¿verdad?
Puro cerro en los alrededores.
¿Cuántos practicantes tienes aquí en Ensenada?
Aquí hay alrededor de unos 50.
¿A
son
poco?
pocos.
¿A poco? ¿Y se juntan a veces a hacer todos?
Sí, la mayormente los domingos. Los domingos es cuando más hacemos.
Ok. Pues siendo tú
sí.
que eres ahorita el number one,
Pues sí.
te vamos a ver un poquito en acción, ¿ok?
Sí.
Okay, folks, so let's see what he's got. And anyone out there who does this kind of stuff, well, you know you can do this in Ensenada. I'm not made for this. I would probably break every bone in my body if I tried to do this. That's no joke, folks. These guys aren't playing around. They wear expensive gear, they ride expensive equipment, and boy, do they use it all. Ungodly turns, phenomenal jumps, all on merciless terrain. This is one of those sports you can't go halfway on. You're either all in or you risk serious injury, and I would even venture to say death is a possibility. Even pros know before there's gain, there's pain. Well, let's see what our friend Carlos can do. No chairlift here, folks. You gotta pound the rocky soil and climb it. You know, this looks simple enough, but the terrain is very rough to say the least. Well, gravity kicks in, and the speedometer starts going up really fast. I don't know how he glides down it like he does. It seems seamless, soft, smooth. Folks, I had trouble even walking up this terrain. You know, after years of practice, the muscle coordination Carlos' body has with his bike's bumps and movements makes his two-wheel contraption seem like an extension of his body. I'll tell you one thing, if you practice this sport, then the rocky slopes of Ensenada's hills are a perfect playground for you. And the scenic backdrop, well, that just makes it a high-end playground at that. I personally would rather practice a hobby that does not entail the possibility of fracture or nosocomial lodging. In fact,
Let's do that right now.
You know, about an hour drive east from Ensenada, we discovered a place that's hidden away, middle of nowhere, but it's creating a lot of buzz and a lot of circuits, especially when it comes to eating and the delights that we explore on this show. It's called the Marcelo Cheese Cellar, La Cava de Quesos de Marcelo. And this place, folks, is something to behold. It's been put on the map now as a place that a must-visit item for anyone who comes to Baja or to Mexico, and we're about to find out why. Hey, nice to meet you. What's your name?
Horacio.
Horacio. Horacio, tell us about the Cava de Marcelo. It looks like a beautiful place. Tell us about
It
it.
is a beautiful place. It's actually, you said, found next to Ensenada, basically. So it's a place so you can come and rest easily.
You can come and rest easily?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
as well as a restaurant, as well the whole degustation of cheese, which is basically the main attraction of the area.
Okay, which is cheese tasting.
Yeah.
What are you going to show us today?
Well, I'm going to show you the whole thing of the whole process. Right now, we're going to walk towards the area we produce the cheese.
Okay, well, let's do that. Let's go see where you produce the cheese. So you're getting about 8 gallons of milk from each cow every day. Okay.
Well, I decided to check out the operation and see if the cows were getting a fair shake out of this deal. Hey, if their cheese is as good as they say, then they must have happy cows. Turns out they do.
So these are German cows that prefer the cold weather. So you guys in the summer turn the sprinklers on so they, you know, they can enjoy some refreshment, and then they go to the mud. These are your calves, right?
Yeah.
These are the
Essentially, this is our
newborn
calves.
babies. You're feeding
Precisely.
them. They're very shy. A lot of flies.
There's a lot of flies. That's the whole area. It's always going to be flies and everything else.
Right.
But they're not so shy. They're just a little bit shy. They just have to move slowly, and they come to you. Right now, the youngest ones are to the left, and the older ones are to the right.
If they have a tag in their ear, it's a female.
Yes.
If not, it's a bull. How you doing? You eating good? So is this a bull?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly a bull. We keep them in here about 3 to 5 months, which is the time they spend to grow their teeth.
Okay. These flies are relentless.
Yeah. Here they are aggressive.
Yeah. They don't take no for an answer, do they?
Exactly.
It's not the old-fashioned way where you develop those hand muscles and with a kung fu grip. How many cows do you put at one time? Do you fill all of them, or do you put like one
Well,
at a time?
We have 8 stations, so we put 8 cows at a time.
Okay.
Right now we have 200 heads of
Of cattle.
Yeah, of cattle, sorry.
200.
Yeah, but we only use 60 to 70.
Okay.
That's because we try to produce the whole year. So
Right.
essentially, after the 9 months and they give birth, the production of milk continues about 5 to 6 months.
Okay.
After that time, the cow stops producing.
Okay.
So essentially, we let them rest 2 to 3 months, and then again we inseminate them.
Okay. So the cows have a nice worker plan, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
they have,
actually still
they have some vacation time.
Yeah, it's it's almost a year of vacation for 6 months of work. So.
Exactly. So it's not a bad deal for the cows, right?
Exactly. So
They get more vacation time also than some people I know. So right. So the poor cow comes here and they go assume the position, right?
when the cows are feeding, we close this gate. This
Okay.
gate, what it does is keep the head of the cow on this side and the body on this. With this, we keep them in position, and it's a safety measure. It creates what is a suction. So essentially, sucks out all the milk from the udder of the cow.
Okay.
So essentially, it's a really quick process. It's about 10 minutes per cow.
Really?
Yeah,
In 10 minutes, you take out the 4 gallons that.
of milk.
Oh wow. 5 years ago, it opened as the cheese cellar. Did it exist before, like just a ranch, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a ranch before. This ranch has about 120 years.
Wow. That's how long this ranch has been around.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw some of the buildings and they were pretty old.
Folks, this is where the cheesy magic happens.
That's the cheese in there, folks. Look at that.
So essentially, right now we're just
So
waiting.
you're squeezing the whey out of it, right?
Exactly. So essentially,
That's what
we're
the
just-
presses do.
Precisely.
So you get all that clear stuff out, and you keep all the curdy goodness.
Exactly. That's essentially, we add the weights. The weights are gonna help us to compact all the curds.
So
This
these
is it.
weights are the ones that they put over there. Oh! And this is what would go like over here, right?
Yeah, who needs a gym with this?
Yeah, this is your gym. Like, ooh.
Exactly. So imagine doing that every day.
I'd look like Hulk Hogan. That's what I.
So we went back outdoors to see more cows. Very unflattering shot of the poor cow. Anyway, off to eat.
Okay, folks, this place is the cheese cellar, the famous Marcelo cheese cellar. And this right here is Marcelo.
Bienvenido, Jorge, aquí.
Muchas gracias, Marcelo. Gracias. 1,500 cheeses right now warehoused here.
10,000, yo creo, piezas, más o menos.
10,000 is what he can fit in the cellar right now.
So it's time to pour the wine and cut the cheese. No pun intended. What am I talking about? The pun was totally intended. You know, Marcelo was explaining how his ranch is isolated from others to avoid contamination from other livestock. And he was so committed to creating a high-end endeavor regarding cheese production that he traveled all the way to Europe with his engineer to learn the proper methodology in cheese cellar construction. You know, it was very difficult to convince the public about how special a 5-month cheese is. The culture just didn't exist here. But through education and having a nice presentation to his product, he has managed to turn the tide in his favor.
¿Usted ya le habías adquirido? ¿Tu familia ya
Sí,
tenía?
mi familia de mi bisabuelo traía esa enseñanza de Suiza. Aquí lo hacemos con las características del lugar únicamente.
Con materiales endémicos.
Y como te digo, no fertilizamos, no fumigamos para que la planta realmente adquiera los nutrientes de la tierra y esos nutrientes pasen a la leche y pasen al queso.
Impresionante, Marcelo. Háblame de estos quesitos que vamos a probar.
Probamos un fresco, que este es de 2-3 días.
Es un queso fresco de 2-3 días.
Ajá, así es. Este es ahorita en la época de verano, que te digo, a lo mejor lo sientes un poquito más sequito, pero es lo que sucede en estos momentos, que está haciendo bastante calor, ¿no?
Es un fresco con albahaca.
Ajá, con albahaca, así es. Ajá.
Tiene una textura muy rica, muy más densa que más densa y más aceitosa que la del queso fresco comercial.
Así es, ajá. Sí, está bien prensado. Digo, al abrir las prensas ves que les quitas el jugo, lo que es, para que realmente te quede la pasta.
It is really good, folks. With black pepper, rosemary. Okay, so Marcelo is telling me how I need to cleanse my palate with some sour apples because we're about to go into the more ancient cheeses, which stronger flavors, and he wants me to distinguish them from what we've tasted already. So here we go. Okay, so this is a 4-month-old cheese. 4-month-old. Okay. Oh. Okay, so now we go into the smellier ones, the older ones. This is a year old. This piece is a year old. Un año, ¿verdad? Increíble, ¿no? Okay, so this is a year old. It's very good. It's good. No, he's saying how I get some sweet bread and a little bit of jam to counteract the flavor. But I liked it. It's stronger, está más fuerte.
Sí, está
pero es muy rico.
Sí, cada vez los sabores van hacia la alza.
The older the cheese gets,
Y ese es el de 12 años y medio.
stronger the flavor. Now this baby, 2.5 years. Just imagine a piece of whatever cheese you have in your fridge and your fridge going out and 2 years later you take this out.
It's not quite, right? This is done with a purpose. Well, let's see how a 2.5-year-old cheese tastes like.
Es que a veces la gente me pregunta, oye, ¿quién se come estos quesos? ¿No? Pues ustedes se los están comiendo.
No, it's good. It is very strong, but it's good. Es muy fuerte, pero es muy bueno. We saw the raw product, we saw the cows, we saw how they process the milk, the cheeses. We see the cheeses now here served on our table. But now we're also going to try like the culinary aspect of this. What foods he provides here at the cheese cellar with the cheeses that they produce. So we can't wait for that.
Sí, él de hecho fue el que llegó de Suiza.
Now it's noteworthy to mention that Marcelo was already a cheesemaker. So his commitment toward learning the processes of the old world in order to create a unique experience in the region and offer a product of high caliber value is really admirable.
Somos las 4 generaciones de productores de queso a partir de 1880 y ya la constancia en producción de 1911 porque es nunca parar de producir, ¿no?
Después de 1911.
Ajá, sí.
So here, folks, you have a blown-up copy of the naturalization card that Marcelo's great-grandfather acquired, or great-great-grandfather acquired, and it's signed and given by Porfirio Diaz, who was the president of Mexico, a longtime dictator that essentially later provoked the revolution in Mexico. But notice what it says, it's pretty interesting. President of the United States of Mexico, to all those who would need to know that Mr. Pedro Ramonetti has presented to the Secretary of Exterior Relations, presented himself as someone who originates from Switzerland, who is requiring to become a member of the United Mexican States, for which purpose I have given credit of him having the legal requirements and the fact that he gave up his own nationality in virtue of which I have conceded him naturalization as a Mexican, given in Mexico and signed by my hand, authorized with the seal of the nation, and also present the Secretary of Exterior Relations on the 20th day of the month of October of the year 1898. So that's the story of how Marcelo's ancestor first touched the Americas and stayed here, and multi-generation of cheese producers. Very interesting. Nice to see that it has some historical heritage. Folks, this is not a cutting board that I have in my hands. This is the menu. I don't know if you can check that out. This is an engraved menu, wood engraved. Isn't that awesome? We're actually gonna get to try some of this stuff, so stay with us. We were going to eat outside on what started off as a very sunny day, but the weather went all Wizard of Oz on us. All of a sudden. I feel like I'm a waiter in the Swiss Alps, feeding weary travelers with their delicious cheeses. It's the cheese cellar, folks. These are the fresh cheeses with the different herbs that he puts on them. And these are those ancient ones that are either months or years old. This sucker right here looks a few years old. Okay, so Marcelo brought a dish here rich in oils and just naturalness, and it has some of his natural cheese, some tomato, and slices of cactus. So let's see how this tastes. I think there's some mushrooms in there too. Yep, there's some mushrooms in there, a piece of mushroom, and oh, I dropped the cactus. Here we go. Here we go. Well, it's really good. I'm not a big cactus fan, but that tasted delicious. Okay, so these are Ensenada sardines with ricotta cheese, tomatoes, cactus bits, and let's see how it is. Okay, it has some spinach as well. It's a different taste than anything you've tasted. Well, at least that I've tasted. Okay, so these are some portobello mushrooms with melted fresh cheese, which is the one that we tried at the cellar, and it looks really awesome. I've tried portobello mushrooms before, so let's see how this one is. Look at that slab of cheese there, and you see the gigantic mushroom. I didn't mean to tease you, I'm sorry. But it does look really good, doesn't it? So far, this is my favorite. He's recommending that I try a little piece of charbroiled tomato with the portobello mushroom cheese. So, wow. So these oysters are from San Quintin. Okay, and it has your fresh cheese, your queso fresco, spinach, which is sautéed,
con ajo.
and garlic. Right. Okay, so do I with a fork?
Sí.
Yeah. Okay. So let's throw Ramonetti oyster. Such strong, defined tastes. This is not boring food, folks. This is not boring food at all. I mean, your taste buds get to try things you've never felt before. Wow. Yellowfin tuna carpaccio tostada. It's a mouthful, but it's a mouthful. This Marinera Honey Ale is a local brew, very micro, from a local brewer in Ensenada. And he's sharing it with us so that we can try some of this dinosaur of a meal he just put in front of me after all the other stuff that I've tried. So, it's very good. Everything's good. Okay, so this is lamb
Mermelada de tomates.
with some tomato jam marmalade they put on it, sauteed spinach, and get this, folks, a breaded baked potato with cheese and cream, obviously local cream and cheese that they made right here. Look at that. Just jiggle. Look at how it jiggles. Extremely unhealthy, maybe, I don't know. Wow. It's fantastic. Lamb with tomato jam from your living rooms to my mouth. Folks, I cannot describe how good this lamb with this tomato jam marmalade is. It's incredible. There's no way I can tell you how it is unless you someday hopefully try it. But it's just admirable how we're seeing this explosion of not only entrepreneurs, but of chefs, of food makers, of cheese makers, of wine makers, who are taking advantage of the local produce from the region. These guys are trying to make food on every level from what is grown naturally here in Baja. Thank you very much, Marcelo, for showing us around and for allowing us to taste this deliciousness. This is Crossing South, folks. So after the excitement of Baja's mountain biking scene and the deliciousness of Ojos Negros' own cheese cellar, it was time to say adieu till the next time we cross south.
You can find maps and information about the places you just saw, or you may order a copy of this program on DVD at CrossingSouth.com. We also do Facebook.